Hi, I'm Chris. I have a question for you. Do you like superheroes? If you do, great. If not, no worries. I really like superheroes, and I know some other people do as well. One thing that many superheroes share is that they have an origin story. An origin story tells how a hero received his or her powers or explains how she or he learned something or gained an important item. There are many famous superhero origin stories. For example, there's Peter Parker being bitten by a radioactive spider to become Spider Man, Steve Rogers agreeing to take the super soldier serum to become Captain America, and Barbara Gordon training for years and years to become first Batgirl and then Oracle. We are all experiencing a collective origin story right now with this weird time that we're facing. Having to wear masks indoors while we're in public and social distancing. And it's something that we've never had to deal with. And sometimes people might ask themselves when they come out of this weird time, who am I going to become? And when we ask questions like that, we think about our actions, the things that we do from day to day. And there are generally two kinds of actions. There are positive actions that might help us or others throughout the day, or there might be, you might take negative actions, which might hurt you or hurt others. And actions are things like um, things you do and things you say. And so the kind of person that we become depends on the kinds of actions that we take. I have my own origin story, which is not like this at all. Before March 2015, I was a normal dad who and husband who liked superheroes and ran a lot of races. On the left hand side here, I'm dressed up as Captain America while running a marathon. In the middle, I have my favorite Wolverine shirt and I'm finishing a 5K that I actually won. That doesn't happen too often for me. And on the right hand side, I'm dressed as a character called Strong Bad next to my brother, if you can see him, Jeff, who's dressed up as Thor, though I don't know why he's wearing a Batman shirt. And you could tell that not only do I like superheroes a lot, but I'm also a pretty healthy guy at this time. Well, in March 2015, I got really sick. I had to spend 2 months, over 2 months in the hospital. And I needed several surgeries on my arm, my shoulder, my chest, and my back, as well as my leg. In fact, they had to take part of my leg and put it on my hand and my arm. And while I was recovering in the hospital, I had to think about what kind of person am I going to be as when I get out of there. And even though I was somewhat sad at times and my body hurt a lot, I thought that I need to be a positive person, not only for myself, but for the people who I love and the people who look up to me. And when I made that choice, I asked myself three questions. The first question was, what good things did I have in my life? And immediately, big things came to mind, like my faith, my family, my friends, my home, and my job. I'm an online school teacher, so I get to teach from home all the time, not just during this weird time that we're experiencing. And no, this is not me in this purple shirt. But then I thought about all those little things in my life that make our days more enjoyable. And in the hospital, one thing that I really enjoyed was the show Daredevil. And being able to watch that over and over again while I was recovering made me really happy. Something else that I really appreciated was that in my room, the sun never shined right in my eyes because for several weeks I couldn't get out of bed. And so I really appreciated that the sun didn't blind me while I was trying to recover. A third thing that I really appreciated and I liked was the hospital pizza. Wow, is it good? I don't know if you like pizza as much as I do, but man, it tasted awesome. Though I don't know if it was because I hadn't had pizza in a while when I had it, but it was really good. And finally, I I had some oxygen treatments when I was taken by an ambulance to another hospital, and I had to put on this weird helmet, and I was put in a special room, and they gave me lots of oxygen to breathe and to use to heal. And I look like the Batman villain Mr. Freeze here. And while it looks like I might have been dressed really funny, it was really important that I took those treatments because it really did help me heal. Now, I have a question for you. What good things do you have in your life? Not only the big things, but the little things as well. So please take a minute or three and think about that and talk about it with your neighbor. I'm going to ask your teacher or leader to pause the video, and they can pause it while I'm making a silly face. Okay, so now that I thought about all the good things in my life, I thought about who do I appreciate? Who am I thankful for and why? And again, my family and friends came to mind, especially my in laws, which is my wife's parents, because they opened their home to Becky, my wife, and our kids for 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks I was in the hospital, and then every weekend afterward until I was discharged or until I left the hospital. And in addition, they also visited me throughout the weeks I was recovering, and that really meant a lot to me. My brother, who is actually one of my best friends right here, he also flew from Michigan to see me twice, once by himself and once with his family. And then my best friend from college, Dave, and his wife, Beth, flew from Montana to see me while I was recovering. They stayed for about 4 days. And I love those people so much for their care. But they're not the only ones who showed me care and love. I had friends who stopped by to say hi to me in the hospital, those who messaged me on social media. And so I really appreciated all their love and support. But also the hospital staff, the medical staff who took care of me while I was recovering. Now, it is their job to do their best for me, but they also were very kind and friendly, and some of them actually became friends of mine. As you can see, Amanda and Aaron here were nice enough to take a picture with me, and this was 5 years after I've been out of the hospital. And so I'm very grateful that they still see me as a friend. But then even kind strangers who helped me out by donating money to my family and donating toys to my kids while they were away from their own toys at home, they really showed some compassion. And I greatly appreciate their compassion and their caring for me and my family. So now, who do you appreciate and why? Again, just take a few minutes and I'm going to ask your teacher or leader to pause the video. And again, I'll give you a silly face here. All right. So now I thought about the good things in my life and I thought about the people I appreciated in my life. Then I thought about how can I be someone else's hero? And yes, this is me dressed up as Wolverine fighting Darth Vader. This is one of my favorite all-time pictures. So I really couldn't do a lot in the hospital, but as soon as I was discharged or left the hospital, I started doing things for people like mowing lawns for my neighbors when they needed their lawn mowed, especially one neighbor whose family was blessed with twins. And as a dad of twins, I know how much work that is. I also still run regularly, and I pick up trash in my runs that I see on the road or in people's yards because I want my town to look beautiful. And then finally, I open doors for people who might have groceries in their hands or who might be right behind me or who just might need a little help. And the best thing about doing these acts is that it costs $0. It costs nothing to be a hero in this way and to do an act of kindness. But to the person receiving the action, it is priceless. So I want you now to think about how you can be someone else's hero. What can you do to make someone's day a little brighter? And one more time, I'm going to ask your teacher or leader to pause the video and they can do it while I'm doing a silly face. Okay. So now that I thought about those answers to those questions, I felt myself not only being more positive, but I thought, you know, what can I do to better myself physically while after I recovered from the hospital? And so I started challenging myself with setting goals. And I have a I completed a lot of goals in the past 5 years since I've been out of the hospital. For example, the picture on the left shows me ringing the PR bell after a 10-mile race. PR stands for personal record. And that means I ran 10 miles faster in that race than I ever had before. And yes, I am wearing a tutu because it's fun to pass people while wearing a tutu. The middle picture shows me breaking a pair of boards, wooden boards, while blindfolded in Taekwondo class. I recently earned my recommended black belt in Taekwondo, and I'm now training for my first degree black belt. And the picture on the right shows me slalom water skiing. That's where you ski with one ski. And I've been water skiing since I was 6. And I really enjoy being able to do this fun activity even at my advanced age. And one thing I want to impress is that even though I'm doing these great things, I still struggle from time to time. For example, the skin grafts that were placed on my injuries don't sweat. And so they get really hot when I'm running or when I'm in the sun for a long time. So I have to take special care about that. Also, they're very tight. And so I have to do extra stretches to make sure that my arm can work properly. And so even though I have these struggles, I still do my best every day. So now I ask you, who are you going to become? What kind of actions are you going to take that will help you become the hero that could help out your community? And while you think about that, remember these 3 tips. Be thankful for the good things in your life, not just the big things, but the small things as well. Let people know why you appreciate them, because if you tell them that you like something that they did, they might do it again. And finally, be someone else's hero. Remember, it doesn't cost anything to be kind, but to the person receiving that kind action, it is priceless. So now, only you can continue your story. So make it a good tale to tell. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Right, I'm going to turn it off here. Oh, come on. Almost had it. I got to press this button.